let's start Chapter 8 now. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about what are called reference entities. So in this chapter, we're talking about drawing some reference planes, and up to now what we have done was that we've only used planes that are predefined for us. So for example, when we start our sketch, we use the XY plane. What happens if we want to use something that's not necessarily on the XY plane or on the XZ plane or the YZ plane? Well, what do we need to do? Well, this is going to help us define different planes for all along different axes that are located anywhere that basically we define. It's going to help us to draw sketches in different parts at different locations. So what I want to start doing is I want to draw a sketch. And this sketch is just given in our text, and I'll constrain it here just very quickly. I think I just need this one also. Okay. So now you see that our sketch is fully constrained, and I'll just change some of these values to match what's in our text. So this should be 2 inches. This is 2.25. This should be 1 inch. This is 4. Okay. So now that I have all the dimensions I need, I can go ahead and finish the sketch, and let's go ahead and extrude the sketch 3 inches. Oh, and now I'm going to use this shape to illustrate what we're going to call the datum plane or datum axis. So you saw that when we started the sketch, we used our traditional XY coordinate plane. So I'm highlighting it here, and you can see it in a pinkish color. This plane is what we used. Well, what happens if I want to draw something up here facing down this way? Well, I can use the XZ coordinate plane, but I may want to do it in reference to another plane on this object. So what I would do, and what I'm going to show you, is I'm just going to go to Insert, Datum Point, and in this case I'm going to say Select a Datum Plane. And for the datum plane, I'm just going to select this top face of this surface here. I'll select the face of this extrude. And what you can see is, just like when we were talking about in Chapter 7, we can change the direction of our datum plane. But let's say I want to draw something with respect to this top surface of this plane, and I want to use this as my surface for it. So if I select the face, what you'll see is a pinkish plane appear on the surface of this object. I'm going to set a distance of, let's say, 0.75. So it's offset a distance of 0.75. And let's say I just want to draw one plane for now. I'm going to leave this as one plane. And you can reverse the direction of this plane again by looking at by playing with this feature. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And there's a plane that I've drawn. So now if I wanted to draw another sketch, I could select this plane and draw it with respect to the top surface of this object. Now, let's go ahead and draw another plane. Let's say for some reason I wanted to draw another one. We can draw another plane with respect to even this plane. So let's go ahead and select, instead now we're going to select the plane itself. So let me go ahead and, well, we can select this face also, and we can select either that face, or we can go back and just select the plane itself. Either one. And we could say that, let's say we want an offset of 0.38. So now I've created two planes with respect to, one with respect to another, one with respect to this top face and one with respect to this bottom one. And the distance between them is 0.38. So we could use this to draw another sketch and use them to draw in relation to one another. I can give you some other examples of some other types of planes that we can do. So let's look at drawing a plane in the middle of this object. So we didn't want it to draw it exactly in the XY axis. So let's go to datum point. Let's select datum plane. And I'll just select these two faces here. This face where I drew the sketch initially, and the face that's furthest away from where I drew the sketch. And what you'll see when I do that is that we have the now the datum plane for our object drawn exactly in the center of this object, which may make it easy later on when we're talking about some other things. I can show you another example of using this. Let's say I wanted to draw a datum plane along the edges of this object, so just like sloping up these particular stairs. So let's go to Insert, Datum Plane, and let's say I select these two edges instead. And what you'll see is that we have a plane that extends just along the surfaces of these two edges of this particular object. Okay, let's try some others. Let me go to Insert Datum Point, select another datum plane. And what I want to do is I'm just going to select the face. Let's say I select this face, and let's say I also select now the edge. And what I'm going to want to do is, let's say I want to keep it at some angle. Let's say I want this at 60 degrees. And I can click OK. So you can see now I've drawn a datum plane that's a 60-degree angle from the surface of this face. For whatever reason, I may want to draw this datum point like this with respect to the surface of this face. And it may come in handy later on for you, but it's just something that you can practice doing and using for yourself as you develop your skills. Okay, let's try one more. Let's go to datum plane, and let's align it now. We've only been selecting 2 points. Let's see what happens when we select 3 points. So let me just select the points of these end lines. So let's just say, yeah, we want this point. And let's say we want point 2 to be this point up here, and point 3 to be this point right here. So now we've created a plane that cuts through all 3 of these locations that we specified on this particular object. I can go ahead now with the extra time that I have. Let me go ahead and delete these. And let's go ahead and draw a boss on the surface of this object. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and go to Insert, Design Feature. I'm going to select Boss. And let's say I want to put something on the surface of this that has a diameter of 1 inch and a height of 0.6 of an inch. Okay? And just like we did before in the previous chapters, I'll select here to put the boss. And I'll click OK, and it's going to ask me how I want to position this. And I'll select perpendicular. And let's say from this edge, I want this to be a distance of 1. Okay? And I'll go ahead and apply that. And from this distance, I want it to be 1.5. I'll go ahead and click Apply. So it should be in the center of our object. So we created and centered this boss in the center of this object. Now let's create a datum plane based on the surface of this object. So you can create you can use a couple tools. So we can go to Datum Plane, and we can select the surface of this object. So we can select this, so face of the boss. And what you see is we have a plane that has appeared now on the surface, and what we can do is we can really so click OK. When we click OK, you guys will see that you can use another tool that comes up. So I click this point and I clicked OK. And what you can see is we'll have several different options where we can place the plane relative to the surface of this particular boss feature. You can put another datum plane. Let's say we wanted to put one with respect to the flat surface of this cylinder. So let's select the top of the cylinder. Okay, we have one just like we did before, and we can set a specified offset for this particular object. I'll go ahead and stop here, and on the next lecture I'll finish off Chapter 8.